know today will be the last time I see you.
Thank you for tuning in. This is Matt Santos of the Mile High Show, and you are listening to episode number 183. That beautiful music that I so rudely interrupted just moments ago was by today's guest, Miss Karen Dezelle. She's a singer-songwriter that was traveling through the Prescott area recently on her way from L.A. to do a show in Prescott at the Highland Center for Natural History. That show was put on by Tom Agostino and the Folk Sessions, his Prescott Public Radio show and concert series. That Highland Center is such a beautiful venue to listen to some music out in the woods. It's just gorgeous out there. Just moments after Karen's set ended, she opened the show at the Highland Center. The weather started rolling in, thunder, lightning, rain, wind, but it was still beautiful to be sitting in the woods, feeling the cool breeze, hearing the thunder, seeing the lightning while the other musicians continued to play on. It was just a real neat setting. Links to the Highland Center and Tom's show on Prescott Public Radio, the Folk Sessions, is there in the show notes. I encourage you all to check them out. Karen was in town for a previous Folk Sessions concert. I want to say January, February of this past year. And while I didn't get a chance to record with her, she did sit in and do an interview with Tom for his public radio show. So use the links there to pull up those old archives. Folksessions.com is where you can find links to all of Tom's shows, including earlier this year with Karen on her previous trip. You can also go to milehighshow.com and find all the archives to past shows, the other 182 shows that are squirreled away online. Joining Karen and I at the Raven Café was Darin Mahoney, no stranger to this show. He was sitting in as co-host this week, and it was just a lot of fun. The three of us sitting back at the Raven and talking and having a few laughs and having a good time. So thank you to the good folks at the Raven for letting us take up space. Check out their website as well. In the show notes, it's there. Let's see, ravencafe.com is what it is. Because the good folks at the Raven are such good supporters of the local music and art scene. So stop by. It's a great place just to hang out and grab a beverage or two or lunch. And I had lunch before the interview when we recorded this a few days ago. It's just a great atmosphere, great food, great place to hang out. So check that out. I hope you enjoyed this show. I had met Karen a few years ago in California for a different project I was working on. Talked very briefly, but as soon as I had met her and then looked up some of her music, I knew that I wanted to sit down and chat with her as soon as I could. And so I was glad she was traveling through Prescott. She has some friends here in the area, and we talk about that a little bit on mic. And so hopefully she'll be coming back through more regularly. So I'd love to sit back with her again. And when she is in town, please make it a point to check her out live. But until then, you can follow her on SoundCloud, her YouTube channel, Twitter, Instagram. All those links are at karendezelle.com. So check out that, especially her YouTube channel. There's a few cuts on there. SoundCloud has a ton of music on there. Very enjoyable music. So thank you again, Karen, for sitting down and chatting. And thank you, the good folks, for following, subscribing, and listening to The Mile High Show. If you would like a way to show some support for the show, please go to milehighshow.com. There is a link to support the show, one of the pages there. Anything from our Amazon link where you can do your online shopping, we get a little kickback. There's an Audible link. There's a BarkBox link. Ways you can get goods. In the case of BarkBox and Audible, you can get free stuff just by using our codes. So I encourage you to do that. The Amazon link, you guys know how these work. You click on it, it takes you to your Amazon login page. Doesn't cost you anything extra. You shop away, and then Amazon gives us a little cut at the end of the month. So we encourage you to use that. Again, doesn't cost you anything extra, but it's a great way to support us and support the artists that we highlight. So use that Amazon link. Help us out. Help me travel around to interview these fine folks that I sit down with every week. Also, it doesn't cost you anything but a few minutes. Give us a rating and a review through iTunes, and that's a good way to boost our visibility. So go to milehighshow.com. There's lots of ways you can support the show, support me, and in that way support the artists that we interview and talk with and bother. So again, thanks to Darin Mahoney, thanks to the good folks at the Raven, and special thanks to Miss Karen Dezelle. I hope you enjoy the conversation.
'Cause I can't give myself away, but when I walk away, no, I love you anyway.
Karen, for coming in right at the start. Let's let folks know where they can find you, where they can find out about your music, watch some videos, all that. Website, social media, whatever you got.
Sure. My website is karendezelle.com, so KarenDezelle. My Instagram is Dezelle Music. And I'm on YouTube under my name, too. If you just search Karen Dezelle, you can find all my music there. You can find my albums on iTunes. I'm on Spotify, Pandora, all the magical musical places.
Website, best place to get your links. And I know you got some videos posted there.
Yeah, that's
Good. Also sitting in with us, Darin Mahoney, no stranger to the show. Thanks,
Hello,
Darin.
hello.
Where can folks find out about you and your robotic arms?
My robotic arms,
He
my
just
6
had
million.
surgery,
had
like,
two
over the last
carpal
couple
tunnel
weeks.
surgeries about a month and a half, 2 months ago. So
wow.
I'm back to playing now, so that's a good thing.
That's
but
awesome.
yeah, you can find me at darinmahoney.net, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever else is out there. But it's DarinMahoney.
And you've got, I'll make sure this is up before next Friday.
Right.
You've got a spot. Next time, Karen, you're in town longer,
Yeah.
there's a spot you need to go to. Well, I don't know. Are you
you a meat eater?
vegetarian by any chance?
No, I'm not.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
You're amongst the people.
Well, we'd have to ask you to leave Arizona, I think. Or at least go over the hill to the Verde so you can hang out in Sedona.
Yeah, there you go.
If you're a vegetarian, I think that's where you have to go. There's a very small venue that is turning into a real hot spot for local musicians. The Tiny Mighty Stage. It's not much bigger than this table we're sitting at.
Wow.
At Big Daddy's Barbecue.
Yes.
Official, unofficial sponsor, BDEBBQ.com. They take care of us financially.
Awesome.
And
He's an old road dog, Eric.
Gastronomically.
He used to cook for the tours, Steven Tyler. He was the cater guy backstage and stuff like that.
he has some good stories about the worst artists to
But
cook
his
for.
barbecue is by far
really?
the best.
He's got a barbecue joint where Darin and I both live, the next town over, Chino Valley. And on Friday afternoons, in the patio area on the very tiny stage,
Yeah.
it's a perfect venue for singer-songwriters.
Wow.
And Darin will be out there next week.
Next Friday,
Next Friday.
that's so
5 to
cool.
7. And then Mark's Beer Garden Saturday with Becky Dahlke. And then I've got some other stuff. I'll be in the studio and stuff,
Yeah.
trying to finish up the solo album. And
So I'll make sure this gets up
enough
before
about
your
me.
Friday
Let's talk
gig.
about Karen.
That's awesome.
I want to know a little bit more about your history. I went through, read your website. We've talked very briefly in the past, but a little of your history. You're from Texas originally, is that correct? Or am I way off?
I was born in Texas, where they also frown upon vegetarianism. But I grew up in the Caribbean in London. So
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
we moved to Trinidad when I was about 13, and then to London when I was 16. And
Who's we? What's the family?
My family. So I have
How big?
it's my mom and dad, and then I have an older brother and a younger sister. And so I'm the middle child, and we're all really close. I actually talked to every single one of them
Nice.
on the way down here, so they're
Very
all
neat.
fresh in my mind. Yeah.
Now, what So you were born in London?
I was born in Texas.
Born in Texas.
Yeah.
What was why'd you move? What brought you overseas?
My dad's job.
What does he do?
He works in the oil business.
Oil?
Yeah.
Hey, Texas,
Yeah,
kind of
Texas,
have to.
yeah.
Either that
So-
or killing cows. One of
Yeah,
the
it's all
other.
oil and law.
Oil.
in
Humanely,
Houston.
by the way.
Yeah.
So it was cool. Trinidad is where we lived in the Caribbean, which is beautiful
Nice.
and really fun. But we moved very frequently. So I went to 3 junior highs, 4 high schools.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So it was
What,
a lot.
the musical aspect, do you come from a musical family? Or
Definitely.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Give me some history on that. What is...
Well, my mom has this guitar. She still has it that she started playing when she was 12. And her brother used to play together, and they were kind of like hippies, in the 70s. We have all these pictures of them playing guitar together. And I just was always very interested in music. We had this toy piano, and I remember being 3 years old in the backyard in Texas playing with this piano, and my mom was like, could see I was in flow.
Yeah.
So she put me in lessons, and I was just singing all the time. And my brother plays too.
Nice.
So
What,
we would.
what was your early influences that you...
Well,
was it what your mom was playing, or...
I think when I was young, they played a lot of like Texas country, like old country
Okay.
music. My mom loves Bonnie Raitt, so a lot of Bonnie Raitt. My dad was like Jim
taste.
Croce and the Allman Brothers.
Nice,
and,
nice.
Yeah, Zeppelin. But then also like the Judds. And
Okay.
there's this
Yeah.
singer-songwriter that's Houston-based that not a lot of people know of called Paul Overstreet.
I know Paul. I
You
mean,
know Paul
I've
Overstreet?
seen
Yeah.
Paul Overstreet in shows quite a few times.
So,
yeah.
Okay, so there you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that. Just reminds me of my childhood.
Yeah,
hearing
I
their
got a
songs.
country kind of upbringing as per se, but then I as well got into the Allman Brothers, Frank
Yeah.
Moreno, Mahogany Rush, all that stuff. But yeah, Paul Overstreet, great guy.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was awesome. I still love that music.
Yeah.
And then when it was Trinidad, they have the steel pan. That's where the steel pan's from. So it was all the calypso
Yeah.
and the reggae and
Now, what ages were you in the Caribbean?
13 to 16.
Oh, what a neat time to be there.
Yeah.
Old enough to appreciate it. I mean, I've talked to people where they've spent years, a few years in other countries at 1, 2, and 3, and like, well, I
Right.
vaguely remember, but those are formative years.
Yeah, it was
Being
fun.
their early teens.
It is, and it's a hard time. Like, I mean, when you're 13 to 16, there's like, you're kind of too old to just be like playing inside all the time,
Yeah.
but like you're
a
too young
teenager, you
to
wanna
like
go do
really
stuff.
go out
On your own,
anywhere.
yeah.
So it's just a great place
how,
for that.
How young were you when you started playing, or like when you're in the Caribbean? Did you immerse yourself in the music, or were you still was the pop music or the music coming from the U.S., was that more prevalent there for you?
It was both. Like they had these great local musicians. I remember one guy, David Rudder, he's pretty famous there, and he would like show up to some school functions because he knew one of the teachers. And
right on.
So that was really cool, And there's a lot of what they call dub there, which is almost like dance calypso.
yeah.
Like, it's hard to techno meets reggae. Like so that was very popular. But then at the time, I guess it was like around 1999. So it was who was popular then? Like I remember the Wallflowers were big,
Wallflowers. Counting Crows.
Yeah, Counting. Oh, I love I still love the Counting Crows.
Collective Soul.
Yep, all of that. All those great late 90s.
Still dig that.
bands.
The Goo Goo Dolls. And,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that was all there too. So yeah, it
What
was
a good
mix
mix,
of stuff.
though,
Yeah.
of all the different aspects, different cultures and things. Were you writing at an early age, or when you started playing, were you trying to do original stuff at the time, or?
Yeah, I always wrote a lot, like music and just writing in general. So, and my brother and I, like, that was one way we really connected when we were growing up, is writing songs together.
Did that help you with kind of, how many junior highs did you go to?
That's what I'm going to say. Did the
3
music
and 4.
help you meet
Absolutely.
people? Right on.
And it still does.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you go to play
yeah.
a show and you meet all the other musicians and you become friends. It's
Yeah.
like, it's a great social.
The common bond there.
Yeah. And yeah.
It's tough being 13, 12, 13, 14 in a stable school area, being with your friends, it's still tough. But to be the new kid over and over and over again, did that with your music, with your songwriting helping, but also having your brother right there by your side?
Yeah.
What's the age difference between you guys?
We are about 18 months, so he
wow.
was just the year above me in school. Yeah.
And then your sister's younger?
She's about 5 years younger.
5 years, okay. So there's a little gap. You and your brother were pretty tight, though.
Yeah. We were a lot closer in age. Yeah, it's nice because it's like our, like my sister and I, obviously we're both girls, so like we like can bond over certain things. But my brother and I are always at the same phase of our life, So it's nice. It's like unique with both of them. That connection.
Is he still playing?
He does for fun.
Okay.
But he's got 2 kids that I love. And he married one of my friends that we met in Trinidad. Our dads worked together.
Oh, nice.
So when she and I were about 13, we met. We were really good friends. And then they didn't date or anything until college. Like years later, they reconnected, and then so it was cool because we've known her whole life. So that was fun. But yeah, he kind of is more focused on his family these days.
Yeah.
But we'll jam.
Yeah, so
like
kind of have to be.
You go back to the fun part of it,
Yeah.
I say that you got to have to be as my wife and son are in the next town over.
Yeah.
He's 8.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. He's so cute.
He's a good little kid. I think we'll keep him for a while.
Aww.
Till he's about 13, and then we might have to ship him off somewhere. If he's anything like I was at 13, we will definitely be shipping him off.
Were you trouble? Were you a rebellious 13-year-old?
I am the youngest of 6.
Oh, okay.
6 kids, and my sister, who's the oldest, is almost exactly 7 years older than me. So my mom and dad crammed 6 kids in 7 years.
Wow.
Her and my brother, my oldest brother, just under her, 10 months apart.
Wow.
Yeah, the days before cable TV.
Hey, we had a baby. Let's celebrate.
Yeah, with another one.
My mom used to like saying, but he was early. Yeah, 3 weeks. That doesn't count.
Wow.
Yeah, we were all pretty crammed in there. One of the things as a kid, I was always exposed to the music from the kids, like the next group up, being the youngest. Unfortunately for me, that meant a lot of, I have 2 older sisters, so that meant a lot of Partridge Family and David Cassidy and Sean Cassidy in our house growing up.
That's funny. Yeah.
Which actually now, as I got older, I kind of appreciate it a lot more.
Yeah.
But with you and your brother so close to age, were you getting a lot of that influence from your parents? As far as learning
your parents
music,
were listening to great music
it sounds
too.
like.
So
they all. I mean, all my family loves music, and we all kind of like a lot of the same music too. But I think we're all pretty eclectic. Like there isn't much we don't like.
Yeah.
My sister takes the prize in discovering indie artists that are awesome and later blow up. She's always been really great at that.
The under the radar ones, and then they pop out.
Yeah, she's just always.
She'd be a good AR person to be out.
Actually, she's an occupational therapist.
Okay,
but she could do both.
Nice.
As far as I'm concerned, you might as well monetize that talent.
When did you start having your art as your vocation? When did you start really getting serious about your music?
So I loved the way that you phrased that. Art is a vocation. It's just that it sounds it's very true.
Yeah.
Well,
I love that.
It's tough to do because
being a wordsmith and a songsmith, it is technically you master your craft,
right?
And that's why I've always looked at it. It's working hard at what you do, just whether you're a framer or anything else, a potter or anything like that, you try to master your craft, and you have to finally make that. It's a big step too.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, no more working here. I am solely going to rely on the music.
That. I know. Yeah, it's a scary thing.
In this area, we have such a strong and vital music scene. Mm-hmm. A lot of retired musicians who were in the industry, but a lot of folks who are just very passionate as a hobby, and they pursue it aggressively, but they earn their living doing other things.
Yeah.
We see a lot of that here. One of the things that I was very surprised at when I first moved here was to kind of stroll into some of the open mics that are here at the Raven, the Birdcage.
Birdcage. We have some of the best open mics where you just don't, you know, you get the people that are cutting their teeth, but you get like on a Thursday or Wednesday or whatever, musicians don't have a lot of time to go out and see other people. Usually Thursday nights are the time,
big nights,
and you go someplace and you get some. I mean, there's some really good musicians up there, but you get the best of the best just doing an open mic 3 or 4 songs. It's like going to Nashville and catching Trey and all those the guys that come off of Carrie Underwood's tour, but you catch them in like Tin Pan Alley or Printer's Alley, and they're playing in a small club, and you're catching all these great musicians.
Yeah. That's awesome. Great.
I've walked into, and he gets a lot of mentions on this show. Don Cheek runs the open mic at the Birdcage on Thursday nights. And the first time I walked in there, that would have been a ticketed show in the Bay Area where I'm from. Yeah. And here it's like, well, who's headlining? Well, it's just an open mic. People come in and sign up. I was blown away at the level of talent that was there. And these are folks who I'm sure, given the opportunity, it would be what they do to pay the bills. But it's something they do as a hobby.
Kind of like Prescott's Birdcage or Nashville's Bluebird.
Yeah.
It's a lot like that because it isn't just a few people sitting there. The place is packed, and they're engaged in wanting to see the artists. So.
That's amazing. And those are on Thursday nights?
Yeah, Thursday nights.
Okay.
I was going to say, if you'd have came in last night, we should have went over there. You'd have blown them away.
Shoot. Yeah. I'll have to come another Thursday. Yeah, that you guys have sold me on that. That sounds great.
But to be able to express your art, and have it as something that's supporting you is really, really nice. When were you able to
make that decision?
Really be serious about that? Yeah.
Well, I definitely always had it like kind of in my heart and knew that it was something I wanted to do. But I also sort of had my idea of what a career path was supposed to look like, and so I did the career path thing. And it took me to work at Pandora Radio when that was starting up, and there's a whole team of musicians at Pandora Radio who, analyze music. And most of them have toured with, Lucinda Williams and the Counting Crows and all these great Ryan Adams, these people I just grew up listening to. So I start becoming friends with them, and I'm like, wait a minute, you actually are like a musician. Like, I'm like, this is a real thing. So I just started talking to them. They were very encouraging, and we're like, actually, here's how you would go about pursuing that. And it stuck with me. And then I was like, if I'm ever going to do it, I better get on it. And I just jumped.
Scary?
Yeah, very scary. Yeah, but I had a lot of support, a lot of encouragement.
When you got a lot of people backing you saying, why aren't you doing this? That's the seed that starts blooming inside. I did the whole, working thing up through my 20s, and I always played, though. I rodeoed, and then I always had a guitar, so if someone wanted to play, but that moment when you're like, this is it, I'm going to do it, and how much work we put in is what you get back out of it.
It's true, and it's so rewarding.
But look at you. You're recording at Jim Henson's studio?
Yeah, that's lucky. I got lucky.
That's
with that.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah. It's really fun. I have those moments where I'm like, this is so cool. How did I get to do this? Just these like little things that are fun.
Yeah.
But
intimidating?
Sometimes. And I always kind of have like my eye on the next thing. Like, okay, now what I need is a pub deal. And now what I need is, so it's...
promotions.
Like what's the next step
making sure you got somebody
here?
That's getting your music out to the radio stations. And and that costs money. And,
But I always I do feel like no matter what happens with it, I'm just so happy that I've done any of it. Like I've already... my expectations have already been exceeded. You know what I mean? I never really expected to get to release an album and then a couple, and then I'll get a placement or something on a show, and I'm like, wow, I never thought. I'm just I'm already so happy that I don't, and I love to do it. So there's just it can't ever be a bad thing. You know what I mean? Everything is great.
Right.
Anything that happens is great.
What was your first release, commercial release?
It was.
See if I've got it right. Was it in 13?
2013,
right?
Lost and Found.
Lost and Found.
Yeah.
And then, but what were some of the cuts on there? What did you have?
So I'm like, it's
well,
Lost and
go to
Found.
KarenDezelle.com and you can find out.
Yeah, Susie's song, which is a song from my sister. Quitter.
Okay.
And then the next year, Bloom, Unfold, and Wither.
Yeah, Bloom Unfold Wither.
What's the genesis of that title?
I had a song called Bloom Unfold Wither on that. It was like the title track. But I think the idea was just like kind of as time passes, you know, you just sort of see things sort of come to fruition and then
Different
kind
stages.
of wither away. And that song's kind of a sad song about a relationship, but it's sort of like appreciating the beauty of it while it lasted, you know? And
Nice.
so, yeah, it was supposed to be like a metaphor for enjoying the things that are beautiful while they last, I guess.
And then Room for Two in 2016.
Oh,
Yes.
I love Alchemy.
Alchemy. Oh, thank you.
That's a great song.
Thanks. I wrote that for someone I was dating.
Oh,
Which is,
right on.
it was a little love song.
Lovey-dovey. And what's your release that you're preparing now? You said you got one coming out soon?
Yeah, it's a 3-song EP, which is shorter. And the production's really raw. It's just, we're not adding like a lot of instruments, mainly just guitar and vocals.
Yeah.
But it's songs that I wrote with my friend Gavin Bailey. And we just kind of wanted, he's releasing an album later this year through Warner Chappell. But there were some of the songs that we wrote that aren't going on that album that we thought we should release independently. And those are those 3 songs. And the title track is called The Secret in the Heart of the Poet. And I just, and there are three songs on it, and we just finished them, and I'm really excited about it.
When are you planning to release? When will that be available to public?
I think probably in about 3 months.
Okay, nice, nice.
Yeah.
Now you've got at the time this will be posted, the show will have happened, and I'm sure it's going to be a wild success as long as you can stay dry.
Have you done shows with Jim and those guys? Have you done shows with these people before?
I did what was it called? The folk sessions?
Yeah.
With Tom Augustino?
At the Center for the Arts, I think, right?
Right, yep,
the old
that's
church.
Right. Yep, which is beautiful.
And that was earlier this year. What brought you up to Prescott? How did that transpire?
Well, there's another musician here, Kay Pfeiffer. She's a local musician, and she and I are friends. I'm also friends with her daughter, and I worked together for a while. But we had just connected, talked about music for years, and then she mentioned that show was happening here, and connected me with Tom. And
what'd you think of that theater?
I thought it's beautiful.
Isn't it gorgeous?
Yeah,
that
I
old
love it.
brick building.
I love the acoustics too, and like a church.
Yeah,
you know, it's just it's
a
beautiful.
lot of good theater productions there, and then Tom, plays, and then Tom Augustino of the Folk Sessions on our local NPR affiliate. He brings shows there fairly regular, some really eclectic mixes of different styles of music as well. He's had some really interesting, what was the one we did a podcast there, and I did some photography for him at the, I'm blanking now, the Dirty Bourbon, you know who I'm talking about. Well, Dirty Bourbon River Review or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Real great group, mixing in a lot of different musical styles.
That's
stuff
awesome.
out of New Orleans, a little Tom Waits mixed in there. It was really fun to do. And then tonight, which is going to be after we release this, at the Highland Center. Have you been out there yet? Have you seen the venue?
I haven't been yet, no.
The whole center's gorgeous. I'm not sure where they're going to have you. I know there is an amphitheater out there. I'm assuming that's where it'll be. But that whole complex is really nice. A lot of the school groups go there. My son's gone there a couple of times because it's a science and nature. What do they call it? Not rescue. Anyway, it's a.
I know what you're talking about.
They've got a lot of
Reserve,
display.
maybe?
Yeah,
Is it
that's
reserve?
exactly
Okay.
what it is. And they've got a lot of folks out there showing the kids animals and artifacts, and they've got some Indian ruins and
That's great.
and all kinds of stuff. But it's a really fun and interactive complex compound. And then Tom brings musical groups out there as well, like tonight's, last week's, I guess I should say, where you'll be. Who else is on that bill? Do you remember?
JC and Laney.
I'll put
tonight.
some links in.
Yeah, and John, Pipkin.
It should be a good show.
Yeah.
Now, you have played a few times at one of my favorite little haunts and one of my old one of my old watering holes, the Hotel Utah in San Francisco.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, I didn't know you were
love
from
that
the
place.
Bay.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
From the East Bay, grew up right outside of Oakland, and I
Okay.
love that venue.
That's so cool.
You get up there pretty regular, huh? It seems to be.
Yeah, I
in
do
following you.
pretty regularly. I've been there, a handful of times, and I love it too. I used to live in the Bay also.
Oh yeah, what town?
I lived in San Francisco,
Nice.
and then I also lived in Rockridge in Oakland.
Rockridge.
It's right between Oakland and Berkeley.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
just south of that, in between, in a beautiful little town. We used to call it the armpit of the Bay, Hayward, California.
Oh, I know where that is.
Yeah, not a. It's basically one big strip mall. Is all it is.
It's funny.
My brother still lives in the house that we grew up in.
Oh, wow.
My parents bought it in 56, 57. He still lives in it. Every time I go visit him, I the last couple of times, I say, Gabe, when did this place get so ugly?
Yeah.
He goes, it's exactly the way it was when we grew up.
Oh, that's so funny.
But being up here,
Yeah,
where you got a little
changes how
elbow
you
room.
see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so funny.
How
Yeah, I
often
love
do you
the
get
Bay.
back home to Texas?
Usually every 3 months or so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
anywhere between 3 and 5.
Yeah.
I haven't been home in about 3 months, and I'm dying to go.
Yeah.
Because
You're
it's
about
my
due.
niece's birthday. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So I really
Nice.
want to go home for that,
Yeah.
but we'll see if it works out. It can be hard to so the flights are they just go up and down and up and down. It's just you never know.
Time it just right.
If
Yeah.
you don't
Get
plan
in.
way in advance.
Exactly. And sometimes just on principle.
Right.
I'll be like, nope, that's a flight to Europe. I'm not doing that. It's just like,
That's why people understand when you're booking a tour, it's good to book a year out in advance. So if you got to do flights, you can
Yeah.
get all these cheaper flights on
Yeah.
and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Home, put that in a movie in Lifetime. I mean,
oh, yeah.
how
yeah.
cool was that?
Yeah.
How did
I love
that happen?
Song. I got really lucky. I've been really lucky. It's amazing.
So you like that Carpenter song, I Feel Lucky, then?
yeah, exactly. Karen Carpenter,
Yeah.
too, nonetheless. But I have a good friend I met at the Songwriting School of Los Angeles, which I highly recommend going and sitting in. They will usually let you sit in on a class or something.
Yeah.
But I have met such wonderful musicians there and such a great community.
Right.
But that was when I first moved to LA. One of my friends, Dean Clark, who's an excellent singer-songwriter, very Johnny Cash kind
Nice,
of sound.
nice.
Just, mind-blowing. He was kind enough to send my music without my knowledge to a music supervisor.
Way cool,
Which
though.
was really sweet,
Yeah.
just to recommend it. And she got in touch with me and
Wow.
and
did you
wanted
sell
to
it
place-
outright, or did you do a limited? Or
It was it was like a sync, a licensing
okay,
sync.
cool.
So
That's
it was
cool.
Yeah.
yeah,
Educate.
I've
What does
said-
that mean?
Well, like with me, I did a limited licensing agreement. They could
Okay.
use it, and then after 5 years, I could still play, do all that stuff. So it was my money, but anything within the movie, they paid me a certain
Yeah.
amount. They could use it for 5 years. It just depends on how big you think it's going to be.
Yeah,
where
that's
they're going to get
awesome.
stuff like that.
And
Which of your
what's the
songs?
sync?
The sync is they just give me like a one-time payment
Okay.
to use it for that
Yeah.
particular movie, and then I still get royalties on it whenever
nice.
it plays on a network. So, yeah.
Lifetime's a pretty good spot to be on, though.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's exciting. It's very, very exciting.
I had
Makes me
one put
happy.
on. It was done by Justin Hunt. It was a director. He did an HBO special
Oh,
called
wow.
Absent. But he was a director also of the movie American Meth, the documentary they
Yeah.
did. And that's the same thing. One time deal. And to be sitting in the audience and you know that all these other artists are on it. And it was the first time. You sit there and you watch the credits roll. And ever since a little kid, you're like, man, I can't wait till the day in a movie,
you get to see your name.
songwriter and performer, there it rolls up,
Yeah.
Now the
Yeah.
movie's like, it's like, goes real fast. I wish it could stop it,
Yeah, and it like minimizes in the corner while they do all the ads.
Put it over in the
you know?
corner as it
It's
rolls
like,
for the next commercial.
Unimportant. Here's what to buy.
Nice.
That's fine. Which of your songs?
Yep. I
please?
put Confused. I grew up playing bluegrass and country. I was a huge Charlie Rich, Dottie West, all that kind of stuff. John Denver. But then,
cool.
96, I ended up with stage 4 liver cancer. And
Oh, wow.
I was given like 3 months to live, but I was introduced to this music by Wyndham Hill, Will Ackerman. It's real instrumental acoustic George Winston. It was kind of came out in the 70s and stuff like that. Michael Hedges,
Wow.
you ever heard of him?
I don't think I have. I'll have to write them down.
But it's very, very relaxing music, acoustic.
Yeah.
And it did something for me. It helped me.
Wow.
So when I got, feeling better and was able to start playing again, I kind of dived head deep into that kind of music. Releasing my albums and touring with them, and to see the effect that you have on other people that are kind of going through this stuff. That's what keeps me going. Playing around here in Prescott is really a lot of fun for me.
Yeah.
Like you say, with LA, you get the musicians and the camaraderie, and everybody's kind of helping everybody else. And that's the way kind of Prescott is.
Right.
There's a lot of, retired musicians, the touring musicians that have toured with people, Byron Metcalf was Kenny Rogers' drummer. Mickey Gill, he did all that stuff. But a lot of people come up here, and then what happens, you end up being in a stage somewhere, and you're playing with these people.
Yeah.
And the history, you just kind of sit around and start talking. You listen to people, and you realize that as much as they have done, you're kind of all on the same playing field. It doesn't matter who you played with or who you opened for or who you did this. When it comes down to the bottom line, when you're sitting around a table,
right,
it's the same thing. We all get the chills doing the same stuff.
Yes, exactly.
Whether it's instrumental or songwriting, I compose. I wish I could write a song. Mine end up being like a high school. Do you love me? Check yes or no. It's like
those songs do very well.
Yeah, but I think I was going to ask you that too. With me, I have to have a event happen in my life that forces me to shut down and go sit and grab the guitar, and I do weird tunings, and I let the guitar kind of tell me what's going to happen.
Wow.
What is it? Is it the same with you, an event in your life that causes you to sit down, or is it like just a saying in your head, like I got to get back to doing what I was doing before what I was doing was wrong? Do you write stuff down, or is it an event that happens to you?
I think oftentimes it is an event, and that leads me to sit down and write, because it's like you become so full of emotion. You're like, what am I going to do with this? I got to transcribe it into something tangible. And I think that's the whole point of art, really, right? Is to turn those emotions into something that helps us connect.
You still
into gold.
You get chills.
Yeah. But these days also, I schedule like writing sessions with people. So it's like, okay, we're going to write at 2:00 on Sunday, and
they've got houses in Nashville where they just have people live in the same house and do all that. Yeah.
Oh, I've been talking to some of my friends about doing retreats like that for the weekend, and it's I like the co-writing a lot too, just because it kind of makes me find the common ground between whatever I'm experiencing on a subconscious level and the person that is also writing, because we'll just kind of suddenly be like, oh, this is what we're writing about. And we both think it's about our, like whatever's going on.
And it's weird. You both are on that same, plane.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I definitely think the guitar and the music informs the lyrics a lot.
Nice.
And I think, also these days a little bit, I've been writing with certain scripts in mind, which is a completely different
kind of doing a storyboard
process.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because then it's not necessarily what I'm going through, but it's like what the characters are going through, and then
a playwright.
Like that, though.
Yeah.
I kind of have an idea for like an album built off of that.
A concept
idea.
album.
Yeah, like to write a song for all the people I'm closest to in my life, like one for my mom, one for my dad, one for my sister, like all from their perspectives, kind of.
Ooh, interesting.
Call it the family tree.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah,
I like that. You're like, that's 50%.
I was going to say
no. What I say is free. Trust me.
I'm just kidding.
There'd be way too much paperwork.
I'm just teasing.
Your collaborations in songwriting and in composing, does that transfer to on stage, or are you primarily solo? Have you ever performed with a band as opposed to just yourself?
I have occasionally. It's usually just me and maybe one other guitarist.
Yeah.
Which I love to bring other people in. It's just sometimes it's a little bit
if you ever need a guitarist,
let
let me know when you come back through.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
Now,
that'd be really fun.
Darin, you've played solo. You're currently with Dennis on Second Chance, and you've played with full bands.
I played with other country artists and stuff.
As a music fan and as a spectator, as an audience member, and especially through the podcast, I've gotten a chance to sit down with a lot of musicians and know the personalities. It's like a family. You always don't get along.
No.
It's not a we're always happy and smiley and sunny.
Someone's doing more than the other.
Do you find it
Or
much-
you get the prima donna artists.
Yeah.
I won't name any names. That just show up with their microphone and plug in. Unless I'm under a retainer.
Yeah.
It's like, other than that, if I'm playing for somebody, it's nice to have somebody come up and give you a hand.
Does that come into play when you decide to be a solo artist like yourself?
Oh,
It's
that's
easier.
Interesting. Yeah, it's definitely easier. It's easier just in terms of like coordinating, like rehearsals,
Yeah.
and it's sometimes having a band can be a little more expensive than being a solo
You
artist.
got to book the show accordingly.
Yeah, and but depending on the show and the venue, it can be worth it. I've never really consistently.
Do you have a pocket of
played-
musicians that you use?
Yeah,
If you have something like that?
I do. I
Okay.
have. I've played a show recently with my friend Jake Moses, he's amazing. He's such a great guitarist. It's unreal. And my friend John Adair, he has played a lot with me and a
Nice.
lot of different instruments. Danny Eisenberg.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got a few that I've played with regularly, but it's never really been like a consistent band. I've had people I've co-written with like regularly.
Okay.
And that's always a fun relationship too, because you can do your own stuff and it's not a big deal, or you write with other people and that's fine, but then you guys just kind of consistently write together
Yeah.
too. But yeah, it's probably part of it is that it's just
Yeah.
easier.
When I first heard your stuff, I don't know, I listened to kind of like off the wall. People would think would be off the wall, but artists like Mindy Smith, I don't know if you know who she is, Sarah Grove, Audrey Assad. There's other artists
awesome.
that all of a sudden I hear what you're doing, but then your songwriting kind of goes totally against the grain, I
Wow.
guess, and it's really good. I mean, I'm kind of like your friend or whatever. Is it your sister that hears stuff,
Yeah.
and you're like, that one right there.
Oh,
I was telling you earlier, I said, I just
yeah.
need about 4 to 10 seconds to listen, and you can kind of tell right off the bat. And that's what a lot
Wow.
of, AR or record execs do.
Yeah.
They're not going to give you a whole much time, but your stuff kind of pokes through that.
Thank you.
You're very
That's
welcome.
quite a compliment.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Very welcome.
It's good to get that encouragement.
Hey,
Sometimes
keep it
you're
up.
like, what
yeah,
am
keep
I
it
doing
up.
exactly?
When he said it, I was like, oh, I wanna
Oh,
go.
I love that. That makes me so happy.
So what's on the horizon for you? What do you got lined up? You said you're going to take a little time off from touring?
Yeah, I think I'm going to try not to travel too much for the rest of the year. But then I am still in the studio. I'm in the studio
Yeah.
Sunday. I've got co-writing sessions. I'm just writing in the studio a lot. And a couple of my friends are releasing some songs that I co-wrote
Oh, nice,
this year
nice.
on their album. So that's cool. And then, yeah, I plan to release this one I wrote
Your
with
EP?
Gavin. Yeah, The Secret in the Heart of the Poet. And then I also have another 3-song EP, which is a completely different genre. I'm kind of trying to, I don't know when it's going to be released yet, but it's got like sort of these R&B beats.
Oh, nice.
Hip hop beats, and
Nice.
I'm kind of like singing along with.
Are you already starting to record on that, or still in the writing
I've
stage?
recorded them,
Nice.
but
Oh,
we just have to
nice.
mix them and see. I'll give you guys a sneak preview, but it's different than everything else I've been doing. But I'm just
Yeah.
kind of want to
Exciting,
experiment
though.
right now.
Yeah.
Right on.
I want to experiment, and then
Interesting.
and that's kind of where I'm at, like writing and releasing stuff.
Now, are you still with NPR?
No,
No.
I left NPR.
What was your role there? Because
I was on the sales team at
Sales.
NPR. Yeah, so more on the business side.
nice.
Yeah.
It's exciting to be able to
NPR, Tom Hughes.
Huh?
There was a guy that he used to have a radio show, Tom Hughes. I'm talking to myself.
Yeah.
Sorry, I should take the mic away.
Oh, that's okay.
Never mind.
It's just
okay.
neat to see the different avenues you can do and still be involved in the business, see different angles of it.
Yeah.
And knowing the business side, Darin and I have had some in-depth conversations. There's a couple of local musicians that I do some promo work for, and some photos and things. And to take the artistic mind, the artistic bent to a personality, and kind of force yourself into the business side can be a challenge at times.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. like with Spotify, because CDs are kind of just, they're not even making cars with CD players anymore.
Right.
CDs to me, when I do a show, are merchandise.
Right.
It's like a shirt or something like that.
Yeah.
When you play a big show, a performing arts center, people want you to come out afterwards, meet, sign your CDs. How active are you? Because Spotify seems to be, it was really way up there, but it's kind of dipping down. Pandora, XM. Are you searching all those avenues?
Yeah, I could probably do a little more work there. Spotify, I think, just came out with this artist submission to where you can submit to be included in popular playlists, and I think
and other
even
artists,
if
if I make a playlist, I can put your song on there along with all these other people,
right?
And then they share it on theirs, and they and so on and so on and so on,
right?
And then you notice your income starts coming in from your Sound Exchange and whatever, ASCAP or BMI.
Yeah, and the Sound Exchange, I do have like some activity on the Pandora, Spotify stuff, and YouTube. But I haven't made a big push with that. Yeah. And I don't really have a good reason why, except that I...
no, I totally understand. Because
except that I just
the label I'm signed with, they're always like, have you done it? You got to update this. You got to do that. But I want to write the songs. Yeah. I want to do this. But I want to have I want to have
someone else
the team behind doing it. And,
I've picked up a little on the social media this year, and I've had some friends help me with that piece, which is good because I don't really know what I'm doing. But I've noticed they're helping me connect with people I don't know.
You got to put out there what they call the celestial candy. Make them come back and keep coming back and do your Facebook Lives. It's what I always it's to me as a musician, as a hearted musician, I always call it the fake facade. This is what we have to do to make ourselves look if you're nominated for Grammy, you got to put that on your website. If you won this award, you got to put that on there. You got to build yourself up. But as a musician, I think a lot of people, like if I say, Karen, I just watched your show, you are the best singer I ever heard, and your response as my response when people come up, oh, you remind me of this guitarist, and you do this, and I feel really humbled down, but oh no, I'm just me, right? And when you see people like yourself or that come off on stage like that, people love you. Right. When they feel like you're putting on the facade that's here, they see, a lot of people see through that. So being genuine, who you are, sitting at this table with the microphone in your hand versus sitting right here with the microphone in front of you while playing your guitar, being that same person, that's what the people fall in love with.
I'm glad you said that because I feel like I've had that argument with some people recently where it's like, well, you got to think about the brand and the the image, and I'm kind of like, well, why don't I just be who I am? And that's my brand.
If you build it, they will come. Exactly. And I think that's a true musician. That's a true artist. It's a true craftsman. Yeah. As long as you're happy with it and you perform it with that same conviction. Yeah. All these people see that. Yeah. And I've learned that. When I play, a lot of my stuff's instrumental and really laid back and maybe bring a tear to your eye. But when I'm up there playing, I will search and I'll pick out people, and when they come up to the table afterwards, I recognize them, and I try to make a one-on-one, I know what they were going through because I explained the song, and they're going through the same thing. Yes. And they feel and then they're fans for life. Yeah. I don't do it for that. Right. But I love the fact that my music does that.
Oh, of course. Yeah. That's ego, that's the
I guess.
Best. No, I don't think that's ego. I think that's love. Because it's the whole point of it is to try to move someone or make them feel less alone, or I'll do that when I'm nervous. Yeah. I'll be like, okay, you might suck tonight, Karen, but there might be one person in that room who kind of needs to hear that song. So just sing it for them, and everyone else can think you suck.
I've toured with other artists, and we've booked venues, and you're thinking, wow, you're going through towns, then you get to this venue, and you get there, and it's like, well, we're opening for a big name act. Yeah. And then you get sound checked, you go back to your green room, and you come and you kind of peek, which is a known you shouldn't be doing, and there's nobody out there. Yeah. I did that at the Sedona Cultural Center or something like that. The parking lot was packed. Yeah. And all these people were out there, but I didn't know there was a seance convention going on next door.
Oh, that's hysterical.
So you're out there, so one person drove all the way up from Phoenix and we played for that one person as if it was 1,000.
That's what you're supposed to do. I have a friend who said that they're like, you're not professional unless you've played to empty chairs, because you just have to do it. Like,
that's
you have
awesome.
to do it at some
Get
point.
that as a tattoo.
I think the key to that story is, did the seance convention know you were there?
Yeah.
I think that.
And you find yourself doing the woes me. Wow, we drove all this way here.
Right.
But the next day, one time we were in Monte Vista, Colorado. It's a small town, but it was an old theater that sat maybe 50 people. One of the best shows I've ever did. I've done, the stadiums and stuff like that. I got more enjoyment because when we started playing, you could hear their breathing.
Wow.
They were that quiet.
Yeah.
And they really appreciated it. And
Yeah.
I'd rather do those 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And have 2 days off. But no.
Do you have any shows in your mind or in your memory that, and I don't want to say weren't looking forward to, but you didn't expect them to be as good as they were, and they really surprised you? Something, maybe either an empty room or maybe a rowdy room that you weren't sure. Anything that comes to memory?
There is a really great feeling. I've definitely had the playing to empty chairs moments, but there's also those moments where I've come. I just didn't expect as many people to be there, and especially when it's people that I know and love, and I just didn't know that they were going to be there. It's just such a nice surprise. One big standout show was my first EP release show at Hotel Café in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a lot more people than I expected. It was my first EP, so people were really showing up. I had friends come in to flying to town, and then I remember you can't really see. It's one of those venues where they have the lights, so you can't really see. And I was on stage and I look out and I'm like, that's my Aunt Susan. And my Aunt Susan and my uncle had flown in from Texas as a surprise,
my gosh.
and they were sitting in the front seat, and I was just and they saw me see them, and I was in the middle of a song, and I'm trying not to freak out, and so they're smiling, and it was just stuff like that is very memorable to me.
The people went out of their way,
to show their support.
That's awesome,
especially people who you've known and for a long time.
Oh yeah,
that's always stand out.
So I got to ask: has anybody yelled out "Freebird" while you're playing?
No.
Well, that's one. We're really grateful you were able to sit down and talk with us. Thanks for coming into town. I had hit you up a while back mentioning I didn't know you had a connection here in Prescott, so I'm glad you do. And who is that again?
Kay Pfeiffer.
I'm not familiar with Kay.
And Tom Augustino. She played with the Girly Girls for a while.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Do you guys know the Girly Girls?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. She was. She plays keys. She plays a lot of instruments. So
they're
she's
fun to watch.
Eclectic.
The Girly Girls were fun to watch.
Yeah, one time you're up here, we gotta make it like a weekend. We get you in all these different spots to do these
Oh
playing.
God, I would love it. I love
fall in love
Prescott.
with you.
Now
up
that
here.
we know you've got a connection up here other than Tom, although we love Tom,
Yes.
we'd love to see you up here more. And I'm going to put Darin on the spot here because I've been hitting him up for the Mahoney Barn shows.
Yes.
He has, how big's your spot out there in Chino?
It's over 2.5 acres, but I have a really old barn that the whole front opens up, and
we want to start doing some live shows out there. That's his workshop where
it's in the making. But I'm going to I've got some pretty good acts that are talked about coming in. Some of them are out on tour right now, but I want to just kind of make it I used to do these. We started off, there was maybe 30 people. Then the next year, it was people brought tents and their motorhomes and all that, and we just had acts come up. And from bluegrass to songwriters to rock. I used to play in a rock band. We would do that. They loved all the lights. But I want to eventually have a nice barn, kind of a hee-haw atmosphere.
Yeah.
But with people sitting out in the lawn chairs. We'll have, food trucks, the restrooms. I've got plenty of room if you need to set up for the night and stuff like that. But that's kind of the plan. So when I do that, I'll shoot you a thing. If you happen to be out this way, then I would love
that.
You.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, I would come out for that. That sounds awesome.
A little mini music festival over at the Mahoney Ranch. It's
And
a beautiful
all
little
good
spot.
People, you know?
That'd be
We did some
amazing.
video recording out there a few weeks back before his surgery.
It's a great recording.
But it's a neat backdrop. That barn is neat. Your workshop in there where he, for Mahoney Guitars, give a little plug. Mahoney Guitars, custom-made guitars and guitar repair as well. But you can find out about Karen at Karen Dezelle. That's DEZELLE.com. KarenDezelle.com. Karen Dezelle on Twitter and Dezelle Music on Instagram. Your YouTube channel is fairly active, and there's links right there at KarenDezelle.com. Anything else you want to plug out there?
I guess I just want to say thanks for having me. It's awesome to get to see you again and be on your show and hang with you. So
I thank you for
appreciate
sitting
it.
down, and we want to thank Tom Agostino with the Folk Sessions for coordinating the show that brought you to town the last couple of times, including
Yes.
tonight, which is actually last week when this goes up. And here's my review of the show. It was excellent. There was a full house. There was a full crowd.
Come
and
see her
nobody
now
got
before
rained
she
on.
gets too expensive.
So, Karen, thank you for coming in, and thank you to the good folks at the Raven for letting us take up space. And at some point in the future, maybe Karen Dezelle will be right here on this stage that we're sitting on right now. Thanks again, Karen.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. And thank you, Darin.
Thanks, Darin.
Peace.
You have got some funny lines. Words that I don't want to forget. I have got so much to give. Songs you haven't heard yet. Who's to say where it's going? Knowing where you've been, I wanna see you again. You've got faith to mend broken hearts. There's an alchemy to what you do. You see the very best in me. Help me to believe it into. Who's to say where it's going? Knowing where we've been, I wanna see you again. Darling, I'm not saying I see it all your way, but for the first time, maybe the last time, I could make some space for someone like you.